Good evening. I call the January 8th, 2025 Shenandoah County School Board meeting, organizational meeting to order. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
I move to approve the agenda.
Second?
I have a motion by Mr. Rickard to approve the agenda and a second by Mr. Barlow. Please, all of those in favor for approving the agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Subject 1.3, nominations for chairperson for the Shenandoah County School Board. Do I have a nomination for the chairperson for the Shenandoah County School Board?
I move to nominate Dennis Barlow for chairperson of the Shenandoah County School Board.
I have a nomination of Mr. Barlow for the chairperson of the school board by Mr. Gutschall. Do I have any other nominations?
I move to appoint Gloria Carlenio as chairperson.
Okay, I have a nomination of Ms. Carlenio for chairperson by Mr. Rickard. Are there any other nominations for chairperson for the Shenandoah County School Board? For chairperson. This is the fourth and final call. Are there any other nominations for chair of the Shenandoah County School Board? Hearing none, the nominations are now closed. Ms. Jett is going to do a roll call vote, and when she calls your name, please indicate the candidate that you support.
Point of order. Can we have an opportunity to just say what we're running and what our platform is?
So, Mr. Bowman, you want to weigh in on that?
Whatever the board's norms are would be something to consider. I do not know if they allow discussion, unless there's someone objecting to it. I would say allow some discussion. I would encourage that we not get into too much politicalization. This isn't the RNC or the DNC. So make your points concise, state your case, and move on. So unless there's an objection, I didn't really see anything in Roberts, and I was kind of relying on what past protocols have been, but in this case, I would say if there's no objections, then it can be mentioned, but let's not get into full campaign mode, whatever that means.
Ms. Carlenio?
If there's no objection, I would rather do that. Just kind of say what our vision for the board
Are there
is.
any objections?
I have none.
Should he go first since he was nominated first?
I'll defer to you.
No, that's okay. You were the first one nominated.
I have 3 years that I've been on the board, and probably everybody here knows what I've tried to do, what I've done. I've stubbed my toes a few times, but in the whole, I think with my experience and leadership capabilities and sense of fairness and duty that I have, I feel that I would like to lead this group forward into my final year. That's all I have to say.
Well, so I have made a few notes. I'm just gonna say I hadn't really thought about running for this position until the recent SBMA conference that we had a few weeks ago. And it kind of dawned on me that listening to Youngkin and a lot of the other speakers, and also getting the chance to speak to Governor Youngkin and Lieutenant Governor Sears, the week after that. That we have an administration right now that really wants to help with education here in Virginia. And having had a son who went through the COVID years and graduated from Central shortly after, just a year and a half ago, I realized that there's a lot of challenges that didn't exist before that got a lot worse because of the COVID years. And a lot of those have to do with mental health, anxiety and depression, with drug use. We have a lot of education loss that we've talked a lot over those years. And the fact is that a lot of our students are just not prepared for what comes afterwards. So I would like this year for us to use this year, this pivotal year, because we have 1 year of Youngkin. I'm hoping the Lieutenant Governor Sears will get elected, but we can't count on that. So we have a year that we have an administration that is very friendly to the kind of things that we want to do here in the school board. So I want to make the most out of that. Now I was very, we did a lot the first year, and I think that was a good foundation. I was very happy that I was able to introduce and fight for the gender identity policy, for the flag decor policy, for the voter registration ban for third parties, and also for the cell phone policy. But I'm very also proud of what we have done with the mental health task force, and I think I want to follow that model in terms of growing a lot of other things that I think we can do in this board. Some of the things that I want to do, I really want to explore the possibility of the charter schools, which we heard in that SBMA conference. There's some money. There's a lot of money at the state level. There's a lot of money at the national level. We've been talking about this, Dr. Shepard and I, over the last month. And there's a possibility for either higher learning, which is what Dr. Shepard had suggested. And I also think there's a possibility of even an agriculture charter school that we could have in this county. There's a few other things that I want to do. I would like to pursue more grants and money for SCPS. I would like to establish a legislative committee that we can actually actively lobby our elected officials. I would like to see if we can bring back our JROTC program. And I also want to delve deeper into examination of our curriculum, just to see what it is that is, how it is or isn't meeting the needs of our students. But I also want to establish more communication with the parents. I think right now we are lacking in having PTAs, and that is what's happening is a lot of the complaints that are coming into the schools are coming directly to us because there is no intermediary. So we need to empower the parents to become more active with the PTAs so they can kind of help us out with that. And finally, I would like to see our board become more efficient. So there's a few things that I would like to propose regarding the agenda setting that would provide more clarity and transparency when we're setting the agenda. There's also a few other ideas that I have with regards to maybe placing limits and amounts of time that each of us spend when we're doing the debates. But pretty much all of this has to be done, I think, this year. I think there's a lot of work to be done, and I would like to lead this committee and this board into doing a lot of that. So that's what I have.
So thank you both. Ms. Jett will be doing a roll call vote, and when Ms. Jett calls your name, please indicate the candidate in which you support. So please say Mr. Barlow or Ms. Carlinio when she calls your name. Ms. Jett?
Mr. Rickard,
Mrs. Carlinio?
Mr. Vance,
Mr. Barlow,
Mr. Gutschall,
Mr. Barlow,
Ms. Carlinio,
Carlinio.
Sorry.
Carlinio.
Mr. Street,
Mr. Dennis Barlow,
Mr. Barlow.
Barlow.
Mr. Barlow has 4 votes and Ms. Carlinio has 2 votes. Mr. Barlow is the chair of the Shenandoah County School Board. We will move on to section 1.5. Are there any nominations for vice chairperson for the Shenandoah County School Board?
I'd like to nominate Kyle Gutschall to continue as vice chairman.
Mr. Barlow nominated Mr. Gutschall as vice chair. Are there any other nominations for vice chair?
I'm going to nominate Mr. Rickard.
Ms. Carlinio nominated Mr. Rickard for vice chair of the Shenandoah County School Board. Are there any other nominations for vice chair? Fourth and final call. Are there any other nominations for vice chair? Hearing none, the nominations are closed. Mr. Gutschall and Mr. Rickard are the candidates for the vice chairperson for the Shenandoah County School Board. Mr. Gutschall, do you have anything you would like to say?
I would just appreciate the opportunity to continue in that role. I've taken this position very seriously as a school board member the last 3 years and as the vice chairman last year. And I feel like I showed up, fulfilled my job description, worked well with Chairman Barlow and Dr. Shepard and the rest of the staff, and feel like I continue to be very involved with the school system and have a good relationship with a lot of people within the school system. And I think what we have going is good, and we can continue to improve on that moving forward. There are areas for us to improve, and I think Chairman Barlow will spearhead those efforts, and I'd like to be there alongside with him once again.
Mr. Rickard?
Well, I appreciate Mr. Barlow and Mr. Gutschall's time this past year as chair and vice chair. I appreciate the nomination from Ms. Carlinio. I believed a year ago that somebody from either Tom Street, Gloria, or myself get in the vice chair position so we can learn that. I learned early on that Mr. Barlow had said he was not running for re-election. Mr. Gutschall had confirmed he wasn't running for re-election. Therefore, I would appreciate the opportunity to learn under Mr. Barlow how to run the meeting, how to set the agendas, all that stuff, just so we have some continuity moving forward after this next year. I feel like I've learned a lot over the past year. I've worked with a lot of personnel within the county. At all our school divisions, I've worked a lot with our personnel committee and Dr. Shepard to get a lot of things accomplished. Like I said, I just appreciate the opportunity to learn under Mr. Barlow over the next year. That way, like I said, we have continuity after this year.
Thank you. So moving on to the vote, Ms. Jett will again do roll call vote. And as she calls your name, please indicate the candidate which you support, either Mr. Gutschall or Mr. Rickard. Ms. Jett?
Mr. Barlow.
Mr. Gutschall.
Mr. Street.
Mr. Kyle Gutschall.
I'm sorry.
Mr. Kyle Gutschall.
Ms. Carlinio.
Mr. Rickard.
Mr. Gutschall.
Gutschall.
Mr. Vance.
Mr. Gutschall.
And Mr. Rickard.
Mr. Rickard.
4 votes for Mr. Gutschall, 2 votes for Mr. Rickard. Mr. Gutschall will be the vice chair for the Shenandoah County School Board, and I am going to turn over the meeting to Chairman Barlow.
You give me a right-handed gavel. We're going to move into item 1.7, nominations for clerk of the board for Shenandoah County School Board. So, Madam Superintendent, do we have a nomination for the clerk?
Yes, I have a recommendation for our amazing school board clerk, Ms. Cheryl Jett, to continue in that position for the next school year, or for the next year, calendar year.
Do I hear a motion to that effect?
I move to appoint Cheryl Jett for the 2025 School Board Clerk of the Board.
Second.
So the motion has been made by Mr. Rickard, seconded by Mr. Street. Can we do a voice vote, or should we do a roll call vote?
Either. Either.
I think we can do a voice vote. Let's give it a try, shall we? Okay, those in favor of appointing Cheryl Jett as our school board, Shenandoah County School Board clerk of the board, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? So let the record indicate it was a unanimous decision. And a not too difficult one to name Cheryl Jett. And similarly, do we have a nomination for the deputy clerk of the board for the 2025 Shenandoah County School Board?
So I recommend Crystal Stickley, who is doing a great job as the deputy clerk for the school board.
Do I hear a motion to that effect?
I move to appoint Crystal Stickley for the 2025 School Board Deputy Clerk of the Board.
Thank you, Mr. Rickard.
Second.
Second from Mr. Street. Once again, the vote is for the deputy clerk of the board, and Crystal Stickley has been nominated and seconded. All those in favor of her being nominated for that position, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? None? Once again, we have a unanimous decision. Moving on to the informational agenda, we have the discussion on committee assignments for this calendar year. Dr. Shepard, do you want to give us an overview?
Certainly. So school board committees have become more active over the last year, and you should have paper copies of the committees as they were assigned last year. Over the next 2 weeks before our January 23rd school board work session, if you will communicate with Chairman Barlow if you are interested in continuing to serve in these existing committees, or if you would like to be considered for another committee. And then at the January 23rd school board work session, Mr. Barlow will present the recommended committees, personnel for those committees at that time. Be happy to answer any questions.
And I'd like to say that there are some who have indicated that you are comfortable with the committee that assignment you have, and you have plowed some pathways this past year and would like to continue. That is fine with me as the chair. If you do, we can start from the get-go and do another almost like a draft and pick what committees we're going to be on. We can stay, or we could do a hybrid where you might want to switch one position with somebody else if that person's willing to do that with you. So my recommendation would be over the next several weeks, think about how you'd like to approach committee assignments for 2025, and I'm open to any and all suggestions. The resolution on the agent and deputy agent for examining and approving payment of claims. Dr. Shepard, you want to explain that one to us?
Yes, thank you. School board policy DK outlines the process for authorizing the payment of the division's payroll and bills. This policy allows the school board to appoint an agent and deputy agent to examine and approve the board's bills and payroll. This process takes place 2 times per month. The current 2 members as agent and deputy agent. Kyle Gutschall has served as the agent for the last calendar year, and Gloria Carlinio has served as the deputy agent. And we need to appoint the school board needs to appoint an agent and deputy agent later in this agenda so that we can continue to pay our bills on time.
I have a point of order. So if we, because I took over from Brandy just a couple of months ago, and I wasn't sure if maybe somebody else want to get the opportunity, maybe Mr. Vance, since he took over for Brandy, and he really only has 2 committees. So I don't know, we would need to talk about that, but I haven't approached him or talked to anybody about that. I mean, I can do it otherwise, but I was just going to see if somebody else wanted to do it. Is there a way that we could delay this vote until tomorrow?
So yes, I think we can delay it until tomorrow. We cannot delay it until January the 23rd.
Right, no, but just until
I
tomorrow,
don't
that
think
way,
it's going to make a
if
difference.
anybody else wants to do it, and if not, I'll do it.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we'll wait to hear from you tomorrow, and you'll give us some guidance.
Well, let me just say in my own defense that I'm content with the committees I'm on, and
Just,
you have the experience in this, so
you're not interested in being.
I'm not
getting-
interested in paying bills.
Well, it's just looking at
So
the,
we can vote on that now, but we don't have to wait.
would you be interested?
It's not bad.
It's not, it's just, you're gonna get this like twice a month, and you're gonna get all the expenses and all the.
So Gloria,
checks and all stuff.
my recommendation is,
Yeah, can I
you get
just talk
24
about it?
hours,
Yeah.
so you go
Yeah.
ahead and talk about this.
Yeah, and if not, I can do it.
Let us know.
Yeah, I'll talk to Mike.
Okay, all right, thank you.
So we're not gonna approve it today?
No, we'll put it on the
Yeah.
action agenda for tomorrow.
For tomorrow, perfect, all right.
Similarly, not similarly, but we have also the requirement for a designee to attend meetings of the school board in the absence of the division superintendent. Dr. Shepherd, can you tell us who that might be?
So my recommendation is if I were to be absent from a school board meeting or unable to perform my duty, I would recommend that Dr. Dave Heingardner be appointed as the designee to attend meetings in my absence.
And there will be an action item on that
Yes.
in a few minutes. And then final informational agenda item is a recommendation for a parliamentarian for our 2025 year. So, Dr. Shepherd.
Yes, on February the 8th, the school board made a wonderful vote to contract with a parliamentarian to facilitate school board meetings, starting with the March 14th meeting. Mr. Bowman has served as parliamentarian and I think has advised us well. I would recommend that he continue in that contracted position for this calendar year.
I had a slight whiff of advocacy there, but that we understand, okay. All right, those are the informational agenda items. We'll move into the action items now. The first one is one that we will defer till tomorrow, the resolution on the agent and deputy agent for examining and approving payment of claims. The item 3.2 is the appointment of designee to attend meetings of the school board in the absence of the division superintendent, and the designated representative would be Dr. Dave Heingardner. Do I hear a motion to accept that recommendation?
I move to appoint Dr. David Heingardner as the designee of the superintendent to attend meetings of the school board in the absence or inability of the superintendent to attend for the period of January 1, 2025 to December 31, 2025.
Thank you, Mr. Rickard, for that motion. Any second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Gutschall. Once again, voice vote. All those in favor of accepting Dr. Heingardner as the designee, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? None. Indicate that it was a unanimous vote. And our final action item is for parliamentarian, the recommendation to continue contracting with Mr. Bowman. Would somebody like to make a motion to that effect?
I move to continue with Mr. Joe Bowman as school board parliamentarian.
Thank you, Mr. Vance.
Second.
Second by Mr. Street. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? None? Unanimous? You're stuck, Joe.
Hopefully you
But,
put up with me another year.
But
Hopefully you can put up with us.
It's like a marriage, you gotta work together.
maybe the only chance we have to tell you how much I know I'm speaking for the entire board. You bring a degree of professionalism and knowledge that we all appreciate. So thank you for
Appreciate
that.
Thank you.
we will be meeting in the, you guys are too young for this, same bat time, same bat cave tomorrow. No, anyway, we'll be back here. I hope it's not a bat cave. So we'll be back here tomorrow. So I would assume we would have time for school board member comments then and not tonight. And so what's our time for convening tomorrow?
Meeting, closed session starts at 5:30 and meeting starts at 6.
5:30 closed session. Can I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I move to adjourn.
Thank you, Mr. Gutschall. Second? Second, Mr. Rickard. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Meeting is adjourned at 8:42.
7:42.
Well, Midwestern time, whatever. Best I could do.
The clock must be off an hour.